Right. Good evening. Good evening, Prof.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, so today we are going to week 3. So time flies. So I hope everybody is well. And also now we are live on Facebook with our self-care Saturday. We are back again. And this week we talk about, on the theme, still on the theme of self-mastery upon Merdeka. It's about sharing wealth, so giving back to the community. So this is our weekly mental and physical health session with our self-care Saturday with Prof. Muhammad and myself, Felicia. And we're bringing you tips, and we are bringing you healthy discussion around and awareness around mental health, around physical health, and what we need to do, especially for we've been doing this since the last we've been doing this since the last last year. Yep. During the pandemic.
Already 1 year.
Yeah, already 1 year. So time flies. I think we have gone through interesting times and a lot of uncertainty, and now things are opening up, and we want to be focused on what to do next. I think it's a constant state of being mindful about ourselves, most importantly, right? And yeah, like the theme suggests, what Prof. Muhammad has said for this month is we just celebrated our Merdeka and also Malaysia Day. So it's our 64th year of independence, and also 58th Malaysia Day. And in the spirit of Merdeka, so it's just not independence for the country, for the nation, but independence for ourselves. What are we doing, to improve ourselves, right? And yeah, so we are here to discuss that. So if you're joining us on the Facebook, welcome to join in on the if you have any questions throughout our session, and we will have a little bit of Q&A at the end, right? So yes, the floor is yours, Prof.
All right, thank you so much, Felicia. Once again, this is already our 3rd week in September that we are together on a Saturday night. So I hope everyone is feeling good, feeling, how should I say, at peace with yourself. And let us just continue with our sharing session, because obviously we need to keep ourselves updated, be more knowledgeable, and later possibly we can build up our skills, especially with regard to our self-development. So these are the series that we bring you up to actually know about what is going on, how we can bring ourselves in our daily life. So tonight I'll be talking about so-called sharing our wealth, which is from the first week we started with Merdeka, the personal independence, and then subsequently building up your resources. And this week we talk about building or sharing the wealth that we have. A lot of people are possibly not too sure what they meant by this word wealth. So let me just highlight to you, and so let me share the slide. As it is for tonight, I'll be actually airing my so-called sharing from home, which is much better, much brighter. But today I still got the chance to go out to just go for a jungle trekking for a while to reach a particular river side and have a few hours of being there, doing what I call my personal self-care activity over the weekend. So let me share with you the slide for tonight. All right. Okay, so this is my slide, and I hope you can see it clearly. So it's about sharing the wealth, because we are the agent of change. The reason that we are actually being here together, the 3 of us as the coaches, personal coaches, life coaches. So that each and every one of us who comes together with this session subsequently will be able to continue building up themselves, develop themselves well. So tonight I'll be talking about sharing the wealth. So first slide that I want you to know basically is to understand is what definition of wealth. In fact, it will be, is from an old English word. Wealth is from the word wheel, and the wheel means well-being, right? According to Kevin James Wood. But basically, wealth means abundance of resources or possession or blessings. So if you have all these three with us, that means you're a very wealthy person. A person, a community, a region, or a country that has abundance of these possessions is regarded to actually being a wealthy kind of a person or community or a country. So it is very important. It covers many areas, not only just a material possession as one, but any other resources, which include also actually a spiritual blessing that we bestowed to us by the Almighty. Here, I would like to actually further make it understand the best definition is the life of abundance, which covers all these aspects, all these spheres, they call it, the physical spheres, the emotion spheres, the psychology spheres, the spiritual spheres, and the financial spheres. And if you were to look at, the last sentence, it takes that once you not only attain balance and also actually you attain personal freedom and growth, that actually you are able to offer to other people and to offer to yourself that life, which is called a wealthy life and living. So it is very important to take note that we need to build up our ability to have the abundance. Quite a number of us for this moment, we are just in a way, our life, I would say maybe we are still considered as life of scarcity as compared to abundance. We possibly has not enough in many aspects of the physical side or the emotion side, the psychological side, the spiritual side, and the financial side. And that is what we are very scarce. And when we are scarce but not enough, we have a chance to be so distressed when things doesn't go our way. So we need to strive now to have this so-called life of abundance, because unless we achieve that level of abundance, only then we can feel good about ourselves. But it doesn't mean as it is. If we were to look at this next slide, is that it is not about just the bank account. It is not just about your material assets, material possession, but it is about your values that you live with and share with people that you care and people around you that you care and concern. So it is very important that a lot of people need to understand the concept of wealth in the sense of the holistic understanding of what wealth is all about. As you know, there are many spheres, many areas, and so that is why we are here to get us all to be better and better in building up our wealth, in building up our abundance, in actually getting over with the so-called our possible, average life and living. To some, maybe a mediocre kind of a life, and some are very scarce in having all those things. So they are considered as a poor person with not much of a wealth. So always remember, wealth is the ability to fully experience life. So unless you have your so-called wealth, you may not be able to experience life to the fullest as much because there were so many challenges, so many obstacles, so many hindrances for you to move forward. So that's why all of us, it is not that we are selfish, it is not that we are only just trying to achieve the thing that we want, material gain and things like that. It is because we want to subsequently also share. This is why they call it sharing the wealth, to share with other people. So our intention is good. So that's why if we have this intention, we build ourselves, then with our present, become the agent of change. And once we become the agent of change, people around us also will benefit from how and who we are. Here I can tell you about 5 types of wealth to be truly rich. So if you look at initially, we talk about economic wealth to start with. But I would like to highlight the first and foremost is our inner wealth. That means our intrinsic nature, the thing that is within ourselves, that is very important, because all this while, unfortunately, because due to our a lot of possible shortcomings and weaknesses, our inner self was not being built to the best optimum potential that we can have. So actually the most important wealth that we have to look at first and foremost is our inner wealth, then subsequently our physical wealth, and then it is about our time wealth and our economic wealth and our social wealth. And what does it mean here? Let me just focus on these few slides about inner wealth first before I go on to the other 4 spheres of the wealth that I'm talking about. The inner wealth talks about how we heal ourselves. If we are broken, we have to learn how to heal, nurture, and then build our wellness and well-being. Only then we can live our life to the best, to the fullest. So until unless most of us actually with all those unfortunate incidences, unfortunate life events from young, possibly we develop, we grow with a lot of, how should I say, broken pieces that we have with us. And because we have all these broken pieces within us, that is where the problem is. So we will not be able to subsequently outshine ourselves and then to share ourselves with others, because our inner self is broken. This is where we need to learn to start with how to heal, then how to nurture, how to build up, and how to actually make our inner self shines very well, and so that the bright shining light that we can portray, the others will benefit from those kind of light. Okay, let me see what is going on. Okay, here you must always remember this caption. This is very important information. Whatever you believe about yourself on the inside is what you will manifest on the outside. So things that is from within you will be shown outside you, will be shown with your way of doing things, will be shown with your thoughts, will be shown with your mindset, will be shown with your feelings. So everything that actually being seen around you, outside you, it is actually the window. It is from your mind, it's from your thoughts, that is the one that matters. Right? Because to understand yourself, your inner self, this is when people can notice what is outside you. And because people notice what is outside you, then people know what actually or from where does it come from, your inner self. So it is very important to note that. And there are 4 pillars of actually developing inner wealth, or they call it inner wealth creation. Right? We use the word maths, that means medication for medical jargon. Maths is a short form for medication. But here the acronym maths means M for meditation. That means you have to be really uh, look into ourselves, introspect, reflect, and then meditate, prayers, keep actually our connection with the Almighty, because until unless we are very peaceful with our Almighty, then I guess then we can get the blessing. As you know, one of the abundance is about the spiritual blessing that you have. Subsequently, also remember, beside what we are doing, meditation can be as simple as this mindfulness, as simple as also any kind of mantras that you can use in NLP programs, whereby you use the words, you use your language to program your mind. So that is very important, and also possibly Later, we can also learn how to do what we call reorientate, restructure your subconscious mind, possibly through the concept of hypnosis. And then subsequently, we have what we call the exercise. E stands for the exercise. Exercise is very important because our body will not be able to re-energize, will not be able to recuperate, will not be able to be maintained well if we do not use it well. So exercise is the key to the problem. And so does is the diet. So does is the nutrition. So exercise, nutrition, sleep or rest, these are all the important component of food to keep ourselves fit. Always remember that if you use your body well, similarly, if you use your mind or psychology proper, if you actually know how to use your spiritual being or spiritual sense in a proper manner, then actually you are doing the proper exercise for the three domain within you, the mind, the body, and the soul. Similarly, with the nutrition, whatever that you put into your body, whatever you put into your mind, whatever you put into your soul, it can be actually poison if it is not in the proper or if it is not conducive for you. Then it can poison your body, it can poison your mind, it can poison your soul. So look into your nutrition proper because unfortunately a lot of us also possibly has not really looked into that nutrition or the diet that we have to the best that possible. We have to make sure that by the age of 40, 50, 60, we have not actually injured our body, injured our mind, injured our soul because of the food that we bring inside our body. Because as you know, whatever we eat, that is how we become. And subsequently, obviously, the body, the mind, the soul need also time to rest, to recuperate, to sleep, and things like that. So you don't really, when your mind is very cluttered, when your mind is very busy, obviously you cannot have that ability to have the true wealth within you because your mind is very busy and actually and busy for the wrong thing. That is the worst that you can have. So good sleep, good rest, good recreation, and subsequently re-energize is all the key that we need to take note to develop our inner world. I am not able to move my slide. All right. So here, let me just talk about the other four wealth. The number one is the financial wealth. Financial wealth, we talk about the ability to obtain or to maintain or to have money. A lot of people are talking like life, obviously, uh, around what we call financial wealth, because anything, everything needs a financial thing, the finances that you have within you. So without the money, obviously, you can't move as much easily. So financial wealth is very important. And for most of us, actually, we need able to develop our financial wealth from the very beginning when we have a chance to be given somehow money for us to continue living. And you'll be surprised actually, financial wealth can develop even from a very young age when you get your allowances and when you know how to spend, how to actually save possibly, and later you learn how to invest. So then that will make you a better person with regard to your financial wealth. And I always ask this question to myself and to people around me who has trouble with his finances is whether how much is their self-worth. Quite a number of time we are living like what we call from day to day, around from morning to night, just enough for us. So if that is the case, we still have to develop our net worth in the sense that mean if we have a ringgit to spend, if possible, can we live only with 50 cents? So every time that we live with 50 cents, we have another 50 cents for the rainy days. So that is why net worth is very important. But to some, possibly, they don't think so. They did not prepare themselves seriously about how to gain, how to develop their financial wealth. So then, by the time they reach this so-called pension age and things like that, their finances are still uh, being threatened, and then their livelihood possibly will make them distressed. And so does is your social wealth. The social wealth is very important here. It's just about your status in the community, your status within the person that you are around with. So you must develop who you are, how you want to bring yourself in the social environment. So the status that you build yourself, most important is you still have to be maybe an independent person, a private person in nature, but still have to be interdependent with people around you. So your position must be very clear. You cannot just trying to live in your life right now, thinking that you can do it all alone. So that's why your social ability, your social status, you must build them up to a certain level that is acceptable for you. Then subsequently, you also have the time wealth, we call it the freedom. And this is very important. A lot of time when we are talking about ourselves, what is happening to us, even though we are having career, even though we did have some kind of a financial stability, but unfortunately, we may, because of that financial thing that we were struggling for, because of the social status that we're struggling for, our freedom might be jeopardized. That is why when we talk about the first two, we worry about the first two as it may actually affect the last two. That means your time, wealth, your freedom, and also your physical wealth, your health. Today, we know that a lot of people have to work day in, day out, have to go on for 24 hours, possibly thinking how to survive. And because of that, they don't have the freedom and they actually weaken themselves physically. So their health is jeopardized. So these are the issues. Sometimes we are stuck in this so-called race to survive for finance and for social activity. We actually lose our freedom and we lose our health. So it is very important for all these wealth, the type of wealth, we need to build them up together. We need to be aware how one affect the other. So we need to know how we position ourselves in the community. So the goal of actually wealth accumulation is very important, right? We need to actually raise ourselves, and then when we have our family, we need only not to raise and also to provide our family. That's why we accumulate wealth. And subsequently, we want to also wealth mean possible is for us to then have security for the future. Now, because we are worried at times when we are not able to continue doing what we are doing to accumulate our wealth, and by then our health possibly bring us down. So our future self maybe is still sustainable. So that is very important why we need to accumulate our wealth even from the very now, the very beginning. As I tell you, basically, it is not only when you reach adulthood, possibly we need to teach our kids, even at the young adolescent age, or maybe even at primary school age. We need to actually get them to understand what is wealth is all about and how they can develop with all these so-called spheres where it is the domain very important for them to continue with the life to the fullest that is possible. And then we also need to protect ourselves, our loved one, if our life is disrupted or destroyed by certain situation. That's why to some people we call it basically the protection, the wealth protection. So here we are talking about now share the wealth, people helping people. So based on that sharing of the wealth, so let me see why this thing is moving very fast. Okay, by sharing the wealth, that means we are giving also what we have to others. So always remember this caption by Winston Churchill: we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. So that is very important. You have your life, you make your own living, but on top of that, you can still are able to contribute to the life for yourself and other people. And the willingness to share does not only make you charitable, actually, it actually makes you feel free, because then you are able to uh, give to others. So this is very important. Now, for this month, we are talking about personal independence. For this month, we are talking about actually you are a free person who knows how to bring yourself around in your life and living. So then, being a free person, you can share with others. If you are not a free, if you are stuck with, or you are still chained with a lot of situation that you can't move forward, obviously you can't share. That is the thing that we are talking about in the last week, about being free, in the first week about being chained, and then being break away from the chain, and that's make you a free person. And here there are some ways where actually we can share. For the Muslim, we have what we call the zakat. So every so-called excess that we have in our finances or in our so-called here assets, like our produce and things like that. So 2.5% we are for other people, not for ourselves. We have to put aside for those things. And also, here, if you know this, Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie is actually steel industrialist in the 1800s. And he has these words about the wealth that he actually holds on to. He say, you live modestly, you give away all the money that you don't really need. That means you are charitable, and you give money to the person who can benefit the most. That means not only charitable, but you know how to actually to channel your money properly to the right person who can receive your charity, and also use your intellect to find a way how to help people. So even a lot of people, as you can see, a lot of these so-called philanthropies that we know of, all have their own principles with regard to sharing their wealth. And also now we heard about during this pandemic, even in our country, we do what we call crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is a very good wealth mindset. That means we can put together each and every one of us, each individual in the community. We do it together to build the so-called wealth, and then to assist and to help and to share them with people in need. So the other thing about wealth, beside money, as I said, beside what we have in the finance situation, we can also share knowledge, because knowledge is very important. So to some who doesn't have enough money, possibly to share as much, but then you are actually academically achieved. You are, I would say, all this while most of us have the chances to build our knowledge, but not necessary to go into university only. Then you say you have the knowledge. Actually, knowledge can be obtained in any situation, as long as you are interested to look for knowledge. And once you have the knowledge, even by mere learning from teachers and things like that, or through your own personal experience, and you can share them with the other people who possibly doesn't have that knowledge about the thing that they are lacking of. So sharing knowledge is another sharing of wealth. And similarly, sharing your intelligence, sharing your smartness. Because if you are a smart person, knowing how to bring yourself around smartly, so obviously you have to be able to also show, model, and actually guide or coach people to also do the same thing. So there are all the time here. It means that you are not only just for yourself, you are for other people around you. Similarly, you can also share your wisdom, because wisdom comes from your experience. So if you are very experienced, so you become more and more wise, more and more mature with time. So you should share them. And here we talk about your so-called smartness. And smart people, they have knowledge, and with that knowledge, they know how to solve problems. Wise people, they rely on their judgment, their intuition to solve problems. So you have both. That means you should be able to share with people around you, because you are much better to some who doesn't have that ability. And similarly, a smart people may impose their thoughts on others sometimes. That means Whatever you think they don't have, whatever you think that they don't know, you can actually share with them. You try to make them understand the perspective. That means you, even though we call it the word impose, rather possibly a negative in nature, but if it is need so, that means you need to tell them what is right, what is wrong, what can, what cannot, what should not, kind of a thing. So being a smart person, you should be able to tell the proper thoughts to people who needed it. If ever they want it, that would be much better and much easier. Similarly, the wise person will able to accept the differences between him and others. So this is the issue about, sometimes just being imposition, you impose on someone, but you are not wise to actually accept the differences, then you may actually destroy the relationship. So be a smart person and be a wise person and be a mature person. That will be a better. And also you can actually share your time. So what I look at is actually basically when you already done your part, when you already covers things for yourself. So why don't also try to allocate some time for other people? So share your time. So that is another wealth that you can share. And similarly, share your thoughts, share your experiences. So all there are many areas here that actually all each and every one of us can develop, based on what we have mentioned here. So that means it covers many aspects or many areas or many spheres as it is with regard to your wealth. And with the presence of these, obviously you can share with other people. So that's why it is very important when we talk about being an independent person, knowing who you are, knowing what and how you bring yourself around. Then subsequently you build up yourself well with your resources, and now you are giving back. So this is the issue. So at the end of the day, we talk about wealth, we talk about health, talk about happiness, which at the end of the day, that is where the determinants of success can be. The word success is not just financial material gain, it's not just material possession alone. So obviously, but the true success actually when you are always at peace and harmony within yourself and happy to be living daily and every day until the end of your life. So with that, I guess that is my last slide. I will stop my sharing and I hope we can discuss or we can deliberate further from this discussion. Okay, thank you,
Right.
Alicia. Back to you.
Thank you, Prof. I think that's really good because one look at the topic, right, for tonight, we talk about wealth. A lot of people know wealth is about, physical, in terms of, we will associate with money and financial, climbing up the career ladder, uh, get as much as we can, I think that's what we are very used to. And I think given the past almost 2 years now, or 1.5 years spent in the pandemic and most of us locked down, I think we are starting to see the other areas. Not that we didn't need it before, but it feels that we had a chance to take a pause, reflect on the things that is most important to us. Not to say that obviously, we talk about financial, we talk about money, those are really important because as we can see, the pandemic, it's not equal for everyone, right? We see people suffering as well. And we also see the other spectrum where people are flourishing, people are thriving. And irrespective of that, I think we are still privileged to be able to reflect on the things that, when you show the slides, 5 types of wealth to be truly rich. I think you've spoken a lot about inner wealth, and we did not discount the fact that we do need economic wealth, and you also focus on physical wealth, time wealth, and social wealth. I think now we are having a social wealth. We are building that social wealth, connecting with people, and we learn that with technology, we learn to create this social wealth, to connect people through technology. Because obviously, I haven't met my parents for over a year now. That's the longest, I think. So some of my friends, have only started to see them probably after 5 months, 6 months, or even some of them I haven't even met. But at the same time, I'm also meeting new people that I have never met in real life, but online. So yeah, so that's the social wealth, right? And yeah, time wealth, like you said, is sharing, right? It's not just about giving in terms of resources. It's also about time. Like you are giving your time, you are giving your contributing in terms of your time and your knowledge and expertise when we're all here on this platform to share. So I think we are sharing our wealth,
Yes.
in a way that we are giving back to the community. So a lot of people think that I need to have a lot of money or I need to have a lot of time. Yes, obviously we do need money and time. I mean, who else is paying the utilities, right? We are paying for the internet, the computer we're using. Obviously, those things require economic wealth, right? But it's instead of just chasing the first we spend our time. Of course, we focus on what's important for us on a daily basis, but we also take time to do things that builds our inner wealth, like what you focus on. So yeah, I like the one that you put in the MEDS, meds. So we need medicine, right? We need meds. Meds is not the one that we swallow, the pill. Of course, those are needed if you're not well. The first M, meditation. And then the next E is exercise. And D, diet. Diet doesn't mean not eating. Diet means a healthy balance and focus on nutrition. And S, one of the most important, sleep or rest. I was just reading about toxic productivity. We are often I think I was just having this discussion with a friend, comparing the Asian culture and also like the countries around us, like even Australia, France. They are very strict. When you play, you play. When you work, right? You don't mix. But here it seems that we are expected to work during the weekends just because we are nothing to do, right? Free, right? Pandemic, right? So a lot of people working from home are feeling burnout as well. And yeah, so we have this toxic productivity. If you're not eating at your desk, meaning you're not working hard enough. If you are getting enough of sleep, it means that you're not sacrificing and you're not doing your best. So those are things when you only realize that it's too late, when you're burnout, when you are deprived of sleep, and that causes a lot of issues. I think most of us have gone through that process. Doesn't matter, maybe older ones like Coach Francis and yourself may have gone like longer years, more years of experiencing that than myself, right? But we have all gone through the process. And I think to correct that toxic productivity, we have to start putting that awareness. It doesn't mean that taking away our responsibility. It just means that putting this MEDS, into perspective, into like all this must be met. It's not like 80% on on work, and then you put 20% on the other stuff that you need, like meditation, exercise, diet, sleep. Everything has to be like, I would say, 100% of mindset, 100% of mindfulness. Yeah. So I think this is a really good session today to remind us, like, not only that we need to focus on our financial and social wealth, the status, but we need to have freedom and health. So those two things are going to let us do more things, more sustainable in the long term, and not fall into the category of always like, comparing, it becomes envy and jealousy, and it becomes hatred. It becomes so many things, it becomes all this negativity, and it doesn't make you a good person, right? definitely, because of you harbor all this negative energy. And yeah, so maybe you want to spend a bit more time on perhaps like maybe you can share or enlighten us. What can we do? Sometimes, often the question is that we can sit here and talk about how to be good energy, how to build inner wealth, all these things. But if a person who's already stuck in the environment of like they are probably have, let's say bosses or colleagues or office environment or work environment or the family, or it's just that they can't go out from that circle of people who's not really helping them to build their inner wealth. So where does one get started?
First and foremost, again, always remember, uh, there is this thing that you can control and there are things that you can't control. So what we are talking here again and again is that those who want to control is those that can do for themselves within them that they can control. External element possibly it is nice if you can help to control, but it is not easy to do it. So be careful about that understanding because sometimes we were hoping, as I said, the circle of concern may concern about others external, but we know that we cannot influence those kind of things. So look at how we can make the difference. This is very important when we talk about concern and influence. The other thing I said, always remember each and every one of us, we are all human and human must behave humanely, compassionate, care and concern for others too. Not selfish, but selfless if you can. The idea is that always remember this key. I would always want to try to impart this idea with regard to the golden rule of life. Do unto others what you want others do unto you. If you don't want people to hurt you, then don't hurt others. If you don't want to people to abuse you, don't abuse others. Because there will be a possibility you don't even realize that what comes back to you when you get into that situation is possibly you did contribute something for that to come back to you. So this is where important, as I said, when we learn our inner wealth, we build ourselves, make the difference from within ourselves. It is not easy, actually, as I said. The environment can be very toxic. The social can be very difficult for us. Unfortunately, we still have to learn first and foremost, build our inner self to be able to be adaptable. The key is if you're adaptable and then if you're agile, then you can actually move along very well. So to build adaptability and agility needs you to now relook at how rigid you are, how flexible you are, what kind of mindset do you have, fixated mindset or growth mindset, what kind of personality that you use, negative traits or is it positive traits. So until unless we make that different, maybe only then other people will reciprocate on how we deal with them. So if we want them to do best, I think we have to show the way. We have to be the role model. We have to possibly learn how to build that proper relationship, good relationship. And at the end of the day, based on respect, then people reciprocate our respect. Based on humility, then people also become humble. And people doesn't see us as someone that they easily want to abuse, they easily want to manipulate, they easily want to take advantage of us because we develop what we call a beautiful relationship. And at the end of the day, as I said, any relationship, if you can achieve, try not to just a doctor situation relationship, try to achieve what we call therapeutic relationship. Your presence with people around you, you are a therapy to them, and their presence around you, it also builds therapy to you. That means both feel so good when they are together. And by then, I think we have a very beautiful, humane nature of life and living for every person. Because if we forget about that, at the end of the day, we will have what we call a community that is full of the negative, that as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think you brought a very interesting point. I picked up two things from what you mentioned just now, or what you have elaborated. First thing is to always start. I think it always starts within. Two things, right? You can say things that you can control and things that you cannot control. So you have to know those two things. If obviously if things you can't control, if you try to take control over it, then you will lose control, right? So it starts within. And the second thing, I it's really interesting that you mentioned. Um, it's simple as don't be the victim, build yourself, because like you said, you also end up being a therapy to other people. Your presence should be healing to others, and others should also complement you, and then should also help you out. That's how we are interdependent in this society, right? So yeah, so if you take that mindset, and not victimize yourself, why me, why poor me, or why do I always have to be around this negativity, so to speak. And that's how we get into a deeper hole, right? And that is actually not very healthy. So and then when you start to just blame the environment, blame others, why not we use that as a strength, or as a reflection to build our own strength, our own inner wealth. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I just want to say hello to a few people that's online. There's Kak Nas, there's Jess Proven, and there's also Jamila. Hello, everybody. Yeah, so they're tuning in on Facebook. And yeah, if you have any questions, please do ask, please do comment. And yeah, we have a few people also on Zoom who's just tuned in. We have Wana, we have Noreen, and we have Nur Zafira. So welcome, everybody. So yeah, you mentioned about how to have this human connection, and it begins with yourself. So maybe you can share with us how does because I read this quote, and I don't know how often, because during meditation, right? Because we start with the MEDS, okay, meditation. I read this quote today, that says that be kind to yourself during meditation and also in real life. So a lot of people may have, said positive affirmation. They try to be, calm and everything else, but they're not very kind to themselves outside of the meditation. They do that only during the 5 minutes, and then for the rest of the day, they can't seem to connect or assimilate those two, right? So how do we go about it in that sense? So we start with meditation first, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of meditation, in terms of prayers, in terms of our affirmation, we do those things. Why we do it? Because we were mindful at that point of a time. We were there. We were in the presence. We know why we are doing it. The purpose of that moment that we have. That means we are very mindful about it. Unfortunately, this mindfulness was not sustained to even other position that you are in. So that's why we ask you to train yourself to be very mindful every moment you have. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when, but every moment you have to be mindful of it. So if you were to know that you're already not kind to yourself when you were out of that so-called mindful position that you want to put, when you were meditating, when you were praying, when you were, saying your, mantras and things like that, then always remember that this actually shows go on beyond that position, that time. So I think this is the problem with all, as you know, human is, that's why we call it the word insan. Insan is pelupa, easily forget. So we are that kind of a nature. So try to remember ourselves, be conscious about it. And that's why I would suggest mindfulness training is very important. Because without mindfulness, then every moment that we have, just imagine 24 hours a day. If you're only mindful 5 minutes, how could then we beat all this problem that we are facing? But if we're mindful all the time, before things could happen, we already know how to stop it from happening. The negative part of it. Before it escalate into the deeper hole that we are getting ourselves into. We're already mindful. We don't even move forward to add on to the problem. So I think it goes back to the stage where we say, now, Be mindful, be mindful. Remember that, practice that, and then you can overcome this problem. And on top of that, also realize how your conscious or subconscious mind works. And you'll be surprised, our life has been so automatic for the whole 24 hours. We may be mindful, maybe the total of only half an hour or 24 one day. Maybe, we only half an hour or 1 hour, but the rest 23 hours or so, we are mindlessness. So
Mm.
that is where, in that mindlessness, we need to develop and reorientate our subconscious mind through, possibly, as I said, learn how to talk, either using NLP or using self-hypnosis, to change your subconscious orientation, to change your subconscious mindset that is already been there, which happen in your everyday life in an automatic nature. You don't even realize what you have been doing, because that is what you know, and that is how it come about, without you even using your mind or your thoughts to think about it. So I think that will help a lot. Our duty here is actually to assist you. If you want to, we can assist you. How to do mindfulness, how to do self-hypnosis, how to actually change your subconscious and your conscious mind, and strengthen them. That is very important.
All
So I
right.
look at it that way.
Yeah, right. Prof, yeah, Jamila is asking mindfulness training. Can you elaborate a little bit? I think just to give a bit of context to who those who are listening, we have done in the past some of our previous weeks of sessions. We did talk about mindfulness, and we did a whole few 2 or 3 sessions about mindfulness, right? And Prof was kind enough to give us a mindfulness. I remember this very well, the log. So, like you said, Prof, 5 minutes is not enough, right? So we need to, not to say we need to meditate, 3 or 4 hours every day to achieve that, sense of mindfulness. I think it's just to check in, like how we would check in our breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or the 5 times where we are praying. Um, you can check in your thoughts and your mind, your thoughts and your mindset at that time, and then you can start to log in, and that's where the mindfulness
Yeah,
training, one part of it, I think it's about that. So perhaps you can elaborate a little bit more.
yeah. I think we need
Let's
we
jump into the mindfulness training.
yeah we need to clarify. Actually, mindfulness is not really sitting down quietly to meditate. Every aspect, even right now, at this moment, I have to be very mindful about what I say. I have to be very mindful about how I can say it out to people, so that people can understand me better. If I'm not mindful, I may be just saying I thought was correct for myself, but maybe not accepted by many people around me. So that is where mindfulness make me realize, if ever even I want to say something, I have to think about it first. I have to give myself a pause. All this training comes about if only, right? I have given my chance to stay quiet for a while, and then to just relook at how things are with me at that particular moment. So that's why we start with being mindful of your breathing to start with. Because if you are not mindful of your breathing, then your breathing might not be as good as what it can do to you. So that means, if you get good breathing, then it brings good relaxation, muscle relaxation, good oxygenation, and then every parts of the body will get that kind of thing in a very positive way. So basically, mindfulness is not nothing that is, people have got it very wrong. People thought that you have to go and sit down, pray like the one that you did, in the monk situation kind of a thing. That is just the training possible if you can put some time to be mindful about the breath, and to be mindful about things. But mindfulness is actually, you have been practicing very easily in your everyday situation. Don't worry about, like example, as I said, I am mindful right now, not only to what I say. I'm mindful to every person who are here to listen to, because I think I try to look at who is around. And if there are students, then I need to be mindful how students will look at it. I need to be mindful about the group that is maybe my age. I need to be mindful about people who are not possibly in my circle. So that kind of a thing, because then that is what we call be mindful means I take a pause, I look at it, I then decide what is best and how to put it forward. That is what mindfulness is all. So you don't worry about, really trying to go for this meditation, which a lot of people say, I don't have the time, I don't know how to do it, it is very difficult to do it. That is all myth. That is all wrong perception.
Mm.
Actually, it's the simplest thing to do.
Yeah.
Just take a pause.
Yeah, the training is our everyday life. Yeah, thank you so much, Prof, for that. Yeah, thank you so much, Jamila, for that question. So let's move on to the next one, the exercise. So maybe, Coach Francis, you would like to enlighten us on the second, the MEDS, so E, exercise. So how do we build our physical wealth, through exercise?
Yeah, it's very nice to put all this perspective into wealth. So everything is building wealth. So because you always think of physical, economical wealth, but those are actually when you start with the inner wealth. So exercise is part of doing that. Okay, because actually the inner wealth is the most basic and most important basic, the foundation to the building. Because if there's as Prof defined as you're mindful, we know that when we are not well or when we are broken, we have to understand that dimension. Then we need to be therapeutic to ourselves first, rather than still putting on mask and hiding it under the carpet. Then you get more problem. So when you do physical exercise, usually exercise is not sweating per se, not just go and run, and then you want to break records, you see, the speed, the timing. No, not that way. So let people do what they want to do, but then your objective to your exercise is very important. Okay, the exercise must support your physiology, your faculties, your physical, your cellular level, uh, your mental. No, these things actually will empower. First of all, it will change your attitude. Then from there, you also will energize yourself, and your attitude towards the mindfulness in eating, uh, and health will improve. So that subsequently will bring you to the inner wealth. And the inner wealth is right. We must be able to man our body first, actually. So everything starts from the mind, from the thoughts. So when you have the right thoughts, only you will start to do the right thing. So I think exercise is only one part of the area, and also exercise also. You see, the maths is very powerful word. Most people are taking medication seriously. So if you check back your pantry, then you no more tablets. That means you are in good shape. You still have, then we need to improve that. Okay, turn the medicines into this meds. You see, meditate or mindfulness. You see, mindfulness, and then your eating balance, eating whole food and supplementation, and come to your so-called exercise and also your rest. When you exercise, also you sleep better. Okay.
What would you suggest, Coach Francis, on exercise? What would be a good amount of exercise a daily?
Okay. Now, just like you work, you eat, you sleep, okay, you must first have a space. So you can do early morning. The earlier you do, the better it becomes. Because if you do overnight fasting with 12 hours or more, and then during the 5 a.m. time to within 5 to 7 a.m. time, you do a bit of so-called moderate intensity exercise. So you force your body to release growth hormone. This growth hormone actually will do wonders to your body. Okay, it will enhance your body muscles, and the overnight fasting also will cut your insulin. Insulin store fats, growth hormones build muscles, and when you have these two things combination, you do very well. And during this early time, also your mind is very calm. So when you do your affirmation, your gratitude, your prayer or whatever you do, you become very focused. And this should be a part of the exercise. So you do 3 to 5 times a week. Actually, when you start to relax too much, you will give up. You should do every day. Okay, then you alternate whether intensive or less intensive. Brisk walking is very good. So you do 3 times intensive. The rest you do it alternate. You do it like brisk walking. Enough of so-called your intensity. That will be good enough. You should sweat. You should sweat. And after you exercise, immediately get a good protein meal. Get a good protein meal because your body is demanding for that. Don't get sugary stuff, okay? Get a good protein meal, and then you can only get better. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach Francis. That brings us to our next one, which is diet, right? Nutrition. Definitely. When you say after the exercise, you definitely need a good protein meal. And also don't forget your carbohydrates. We are talking about quality food, right? So a lot of us are thinking about usually a goal in mind, whether it's to lose weight or get rid of dependency of medication and things like that. But often we forget that we should let food become our medicine, not medicine our food, right? So that's a really simple but very profound quote. And so diet is really part of like what Coach Francis, what Prof has mentioned about meditation and exercise. You have to start with the intention. It's coming back to mindfulness. It's really about common sense. There's no one food that is better than the other food. All types of food and combine well together helps your body to perform the daily routine and according to the demands of your body. So if you're somebody who's obviously exercising, or you are somebody who is we need to build, we need to maintain, not only build lean muscle through exercise, but it's where they say abs are trained in the gym, but it is made in the kitchen, right? So I think a lot of us would agree with that. The diet is very, very important, because how it makes your body feel and how you prepare your body before your daily routine or your workout, and during your hydration and after, gives you that. Your body will tell you. So always listen to your body. Really have quality protein, carbohydrate, good fats, and all these essential vitamin and minerals. And we all know that during the pandemic, especially immune system is very strong. So recently I have clients who come back from COVID-19. They've started their recovery already, but they do feel a lot of difference in terms of their energy levels, and even down to their breathing and stamina. So they have pretty much kind of lost all that during the process, right? And it's just going back to the basic. Obviously, like what Prof said, you can come to us for advice and consultation or coaching, whether for mental health, Prof would be the expert for it, and for diet and nutrition and also exercise, you can come to myself and Coach Francis to talk about your goals, because everybody is personalized. But on a general rule, you have to know what is good for your body, right? So it's no one secret magic. Taking your meals on time, eating quality food, avoiding excessive processed or refined sugar, and everything in moderation, right? And I think that is really important. And if your body is telling you that you're constantly tired, constantly unable to recover well after your exercise, then you must do something about it, right? So you're not probably have to fine-tune something on your nutrition, right? And which brings us to the last part of it, which is S, which is sleep or rest. Okay, so M, meditation, E, exercise, D, diet, and S, sleep. I would love to have Jess on the call as well. So next time perhaps we can also invite him to be part of our self-care Saturday session. So he's a sleep guru, okay? Because what better person to ask if not a person who sleeps almost at 10 or 10:30 every night. So you know, you get a practitioner and you get somebody who trains on that as well. So sleep is definitely a very important thing. We do need 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Yes, we can definitely survive on 4 hours of sleep or less, but it will not do you good, because generally our body needs that amount of sleep, that amount of rest and quality. So when your body tells you you need to rest, often so we drag it, because we may, you know, for the busy people, we may want to catch an episode, a drama or two on Netflix or whatever it is. And then we tend to drag things on, or maybe you are looking at your phone or your computers and there's a constant blue light, right? And that actually stimulates our brain activity, and then we tend to reach. Do you realize that you do get tired, but after a certain hours you become energetic suddenly, and hence you face insomnia? So it's very important to keep a few tips that I've learned also from Jess, is that you would want to make sure that you are not getting any blue light stimulation, you know, from your handphone, from your laptops, from your TV, meaning really all gadgets out, right? And having the light, having a dim light, making sure that your bedroom is only for sleep, rest, and nothing else. Okay, so no eating, no scrolling on your handphone and things like that. So those are the dangers, all right? So this is also a reminder to myself. And yeah, they say use an alarm clock, you know, try not to use your phone. Your phone can be outside. So buy a clock. It's not very expensive. And one of the things that, because our weather is definitely hot these days, so what we can do is also to chill the room to about 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, and just switch it off before you sleep. So you don't want it to be too hot or too cold, just the right temperature for you to have a good rest. So when you set your mind to really go on a good rest, even though sometimes we don't get our full 6 to 8 hours of sleep, we do get quality of sleep. And those are the few steps that we can do in order for us to really unwind. I always also take 1 hour before I sleep, to not overstimulate, to not read or watch things that are like, you know, make me active. So those things I will try to keep it more neutral, more positive. And if you want to tune into your spiritual music, or you want to read some, you know, your Bible or your Quran, or you know, your scriptures, I think that will be a good timing. So that is also part of your, you know, being mindful in a meditative mood, and your brain goes into you know, a very relaxed mode for you to be able to sleep, and so that you know that tomorrow you wake up fresh. Because you know, it's proven that if you don't get enough of sleep, on an average 7.5 hours, your risk for cardiovascular disease and diabetes increase by many percent. So it is very important how those are related. And yeah, if let's say you are a person who loves exercising, you want to make sure that you have enough of sleep as well, because it does affect your heart rate, and yeah, meaning your cardiovascular. So also those people who are late night people usually are the people who also tend to overeat more calories during the day, because your body goes through under, you know, you produce cortisol hormone, which is a stress hormone, and it induces more anxiety and more emotional eating, right? So more calories are being taken to help your body calm down. So yeah, so see, sleep is such an important. Sleep is also nutrition, right? So there you go. You have meditation, you have exercise, you have diet, and you have sleep, right? So I think this is the best medication, right? I think the best doctors, they say, is the sun, you know, is the sunlight, is the green, is the, you know, natural food that we can take, and is the rest and good friends around us as well. You know, you want to have a good, positive environment. But like what we've been, you know, talking like the whole session, I think it begins with yourself. It begins with a good intention, and yeah, you just work step by step, one day at a time. And like what Prof said just now, you know, you just focus on the things that you can control. Yeah, that is one of the most powerful wisdom I think one can get. Yeah, so in summary, perhaps Prof and Coach Francis can say something, and then before we wrap tonight's session. Wrap up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you, Felicia. I think the last word that I want to remind all of us basically, your body, again and again, yourself, your mind, your soul, you need all those three components: the proper nutrition, the proper use, the proper exercise, and the proper rest and the recreation. So unless you can give these to these three domain of yourself, the body, the mind, and the soul, the biology, the psychology, and the spirit nature that you have, then I think you can ensure yourself will be much better ability to withstand any kind of stress situation, any kind of challenges, because you are always fit. I think that is the key. Being fit means you can face anything. That's how I think.
All right. Thank you, Prof. Yeah, and Coach Francis?
You're unmute, coach. You have to unmute, coach.
I think if I say it correct, sharply. So remember, treat everything like wealth, because you that will interest you. Okay, because it is the true wealth. This is really true wealth. Thank you so much, Prof, for the beautiful outline. Okay, I love the inner wealth first. Actually, that is the key. When you go through life, you look back, actually, these are all the areas only. So the young people listening out there, okay, please pay attention to this so-called recorded link. Really listen again, and you can come back to us if you need any more so-called information. I think with that, thank you so much, Prof. Thank you, Felicia.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, I think our fourth week, next week, we'll be talking about, let's see.
Living harmony.
Yes, living harmony. So yeah, so maybe a little bit plug in for next week's session. What will we be talking about, Prof?
By then, I think we should be at peace with ourselves. We should be at peace with our situation around us. We should be not only peaceful, but harmonious intrinsically and extrinsically. So that is the reason why, after we have collected the so-called self-mastery and then the Merdeka per me kind of a thing, we should be subsequently walking around feeling tall, feeling good. And that is where we are very harmonious in our life and living. So it started from within again, as I said. So that's why I want to conclude that way.
All right. So thank you so much, Prof. Yep. So next week, please tune in to our self-care Saturday once again on the living in harmony. So that will be our last session for this month's theme, self-mastery upon Merdeka. So we will be coming back again in October with a new theme. And that then we will be sharing that information with you. Yeah, so thank you so much for everybody who has been tuning in on Facebook and also joining us on Zoom. We will have all these sessions recorded and uploaded on our YouTube link, YouTube channel, so that you can share this. And yeah, definitely for the upcoming sessions, please invite more friends. It's every Saturday at 9 p.m. So far there won't be any changes until unless there's like public holiday and things like that. So yeah, we want to thank you. So thank you everybody who has been very supportive and joining and listening in. I hope this is beneficial for all of us. I myself find it to be it's very nice to just gather for 1 hour, and then I feel that this is like my unwinding session for during the weekend especially. So yeah, so I hope this finds you well. Please stay safe and have the rest of the weekend. Enjoy, and yeah, we stay safe. So good night, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night, Noreen.
Okay.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Wana. Good night,
Good night.
Zafira.